Well, hello, everybody.
Wow, we are so excited for tonight and our special guests that are joining us.
Absolutely. We're so thankful that you guys have jumped on with us Monday Motivation, just to really talk about stories, mindset, the business. And man, do we have some incredible guests for you. They're not surprise guests because we posted about it, but we are so thankful to have Joel and Steph Dunn here with us tonight. Our number one income earners, but just some incredible leaders, friends, and man, just represent this company. And we're so thankful for you guys and excited for tonight.
Yeah, I'll never forget my first conference as a VIP. Well, it was a green carpet as a VIP, and Joel and Steph were number one, and they actually talked to us. I was like, oh, they like us too. Like they like people. Like that's fun. They're amazing and so successful, but they also just have the heart of everybody, and the heart really of it works is that people matter and teams matter and individuals matter and your life matters and your family matters and your goals. And so that was so awesome for me to experience back then.
I'm going to honestly say what I noticed first about Joel was his shoe game. I'm like, this dude has the shoes, and the plus was just that they love to develop people and grow. And I think they get more excited about that. And that's our kind of people, is if we can help others succeed, we're thankful for that. So Joel and Steph, man, welcome. And we'd love to hear just a little bit about you guys.
Well, I think, just saying what you said a little bit, Stacy, was let's rewind. Because I think, everybody sees this pedestal, they're at the top, they're number one, and they're superhumans. And 13 and a half years ago, I was scared. We were broke. Life was tough. We were standing at, in food lines at churches and barely getting by. And it's funny because on the outside, people don't know the story. And so it looked like everything was good, but life was hard. And I just remember praying, like, there's got to be another way. Like, God always would provide for us, like, a random check that would come in the mail back then when checks would come in the mail or whatever. And I just remember thinking, there's got to be something more. And I'm willing to do the work if somebody were to show me something, like just show me something.
Well, yeah, we knew we were made for more. It was one of those things like we're like, God, you made us for a specific reason. And right now we know that bankruptcy and standing in food lines is not what it is. You gave us a purpose to have a greater impact on people's lives. And when God dropped It Works into our life, it was perfect because I love network marketing, because it's a business model where you are not successful unless you help more people be successful. So the more people you help, the more successful you become. It's one of the greatest business models out there. So when it came out that It Works was a pyramid scheme, which is what she had told Steph, I was like, we're going to be rich.
You guys, I did not want to do it. So people say that it's a pyramid scheme. And I was that person. I was skeptic. Like, it's okay. There's going to be that person. But I think in that moment, it was like, well, you look good. So what did you use? And it was the product. And so I was like, well, I got to try it. And that's when you got to get your hands, the product into people's hands, or using your personal testimony, because that speaks volumes right there. Like, results don't lie. Like, it is right there. And you saw that and you're like, I got to try this. And
yeah, I went to prove the rap wrong, and guess who won? The rap. So that's pretty much how we got started. And from there, the great thing about this is there's a system behind everything to create the kind of life and the kind of income that you want. But again, it comes back to who can you help become successful so that you can become successful. So that's what we truly love about it. And I love that tonight is Monday Mindset, because as many of you know, personal development and mindset and leadership building, that is the pinnacle of the things that I like to dive into. So tonight's going to be awesome because we want to help arm you with a new mindset that can help you go out tonight and make a difference in your life and your family's life.
And I think, for me, talking to the ones that are maybe new on, welcome. Like, if this is your first Zoom, welcome to the team, because we are so excited for you to just get started and to know the people. And we're real people. I think that's the thing is hear the stories, you think, oh my gosh, there was a teacher or whatever their background was. And I just remember thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. What do I do? I'm scared, but why was this opportunity given to me? There's a reason for it. I was like, God, I didn't really sign up for network marketing. I don't want anything to do with this, but I really knew, okay, I'm just going to be myself and I'm going to put it out there. And this is how you guys can do this is there's options. They can try the product. You know, you can get that to them, get them a sample product to try. They can become a customer or they can become a distributor and make some money. And that's our options. There's nothing else. There should be no fear involved in that. And I think, you know, looking back early on, if somebody would have just said, just do that, like I could do that. And it takes the pressure off of feeling like I needed to know everything. So if you're like, I don't know anything, that's okay. I think I've heard my husband say, ignorance on fire is like sometimes the best way to be. And being excited about an opportunity, being excited that the company is debt-free, a Christian-based company, you know, real people, real results, cutting edge, you know, products that give instant results and just constantly evolving is be excited for that. And, you know, you can always go back to this page, your leader, the person that got you in and get those questions, you know, answered. And so I think, you know, for me, knowing that going back, gosh, you know, how did you overcome obstacles? What were some of those things? And it was, you got to try. I think that was the one thing that I would say is you don't know until, and you gotta move forward with that. And so I just remember the sweaty pits, like, oh my God, they're going to ask me a question. I don't know. They're going to ask me what's in greens and I don't know. And I'll just read the bottle. And so, you know, those are those scary moments that you're going to come into and it's okay. We've all been there. So, you know, that was reassuring to me a little bit like, oh, good. Other people felt like this because you get to see the highlight reel of everybody and even yourself. You're putting your best self out on social media into the world. And so they don't know that nervousness that you might have, but I think that that's okay.
And guys, a perfect point that she just hit on, and this goes to the mindset aspect of it. You have to have the mindset of how you're going to operate your life in the same manner as how you're going to operate your social media. Yeah. You know, everybody posts the highlight reel. Well, guys, go out there and expect that you're going to live a highlight reel life. You have to have an abundant mindset. You're in business for yourself. If you're constantly having negative thoughts and being around negative people, you are going to have a hard time succeeding in anything because you're always going to be looking for the wrong in things. When you have an opportunity and an abundance mindset, you're always looking for the next opportunity. You're looking for the good in things. And guess what? When you start looking for the good, guess what you're going to see? All the good.
That's so good. That's so good. You know, talking about obstacles and mindset, like we see you now. And I love that stuff, what you said, like giving some humanity to sometimes we put ourselves at a place. But if you were to go back, where did y'all start when it comes to mindset, development, leadership? Like where did you start, Joel? We see you now, we see the leaders now, but where can they start where they're at with some of that?
Well, guys, it's pretty simple. Get around people that have encouraging things to say. That's the first thing to do. And if you don't have those, guess what? You can find them. There are incredible podcasts out there. There are incredible authors, incredible speakers out there that you can learn from. I say that I have some of the greatest mentors in the world. And that's because of the fact that for years, I have read and listened to and followed the people that I want to be like, and they have the results of what I want. So that's what I do. I connect with that. And then from there, I've been able to actually meet and start working with some of them. So when you start that way, think about it as if you will intentionally move yourself into their circle. We need to take you from the circle of influence where you are, where your thinking is, to a better circle with higher thinking to move you forward, because that's how you're always going to move forward. So for me, it was books. It's really odd to say this, but I'm so old that I used to listen to stuff on tapes that transitioned into CDs. And now for all of you young people out there, that's what podcasts are now.
There you go.
I mean, I think Joel's always had that a little bit into him. So I want to speak to the person that came in not having that. Maybe
Yeah.
they didn't have an encourager, or, you know, you came from a family that didn't have success or believed in you or something. And, you know, for me, I was like, I don't want to be a leader. I don't know. This is a lot. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's real.
like, yes. So it's okay to feel those things. I don't ever want you to feel like, but I'm not like that. No, I want you to be you. And I think the moment that I got on stage and I cried, and I still get emotional, and that's not it's anxiety for me. I don't necessarily enjoy that, you guys, but I know that God made me for a reason. And it was to tell the story. He's given us, you know, what I thought was a hard life was so I could relate to people. And
Wow.
any part of my story is so I can relate. So Joel having all of that and being excited about that, you know, with leadership and development. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. It's like two completely different people, but we can relate to both people then. And so I encourage you to go, well, how did you start? And for me, it was short, 5-10 minutes. It might not be like a high level, somebody that's already coming in. Maybe they enjoy books already. Like for me, I just needed short 5-10 minutes of encouraging words, whether that's reading, you know, Bible verse, maybe in the morning, getting your mind right first thing. And so I would start just something simple. If it feels overwhelming, it's okay just to start with small things and work your way up. And I think, you know, what we've learned along the way is there's times and seasons in this business too, where right now it's like runtime, it's distributors and it's customers and we're working. And then there's a place where it's leadership development and to know this is okay. This is the ebb and flows of the business. And this is where we're going to put in a little bit more work on leadership and understanding that.
I love that. And that, you know, I have so much respect for you with your whole journey, like 13 years, right? So you're on chapter 13. We've talked a little bit about chapter 1, and we know, you know, it hasn't been like this, although you've been number 1 for a long time, but you know, we know it's not like that. But if you could think back to like, I don't know, somewhere in the middle right there, where it's like, I need to renew, right? There had to be a point where you're like, we haven't really hit on this. Like so much is different from when you were standing in food lines to all that place. But then you gained success in a lot of different ways, your confidence, your money, you know, your team, building people. And you might have had the opportunity to go, okay, this is good. I could hang out here, but neither of you are like that in your personality. So in that moment, in those moments, what was the choices you had to make and how did you make those choices? You want to answer first?
I was gonna let you do it.
Okay. Well, he'll probably say something different, of course, but that's
why I
okay.
wanted you to go first.
I know. I was like, okay. But you know, for me, I've always known that I have to work. And so I've never taken this off of the table of, if you want to be successful at something, you have to show up every day. And so I knew that going in. I knew, like, I'm a worker. And so I get to choose this and to have fun and teach other people. And you guys, we can give you the opportunity. There is so much tools, everything that you need. Ultimately, it's in your hands of what you get to decide with what you want to do with it. And I think that's the difference of a successful person takes it serious. Is this truly a business? And I wake up every day, like, this is my business. I want you as a new distributor too, or wherever you're at, imagine yourself running a multi-million-dollar business. Is what you're currently doing showing up enough to run a multi-dollar business? And that's how I wanted to. And that's how I continue to. You know, I have this vision of like billionaire was everywhere. And so I'm sure that billionaires are doing a lot more than what I'm doing. And so, you know, show up. Like, that's all we get to do that. We get to give the opportunity, whether they take it or not. And once you get that, like, okay, next, don't let it hurt your feelings. I think that was, for me, was this is what we do, and it can be fun.
Yeah, I think to kind of tag on top of that is the consistency factor. I talked about that today. One of the hallmarks of highly successful people is their ability to create discipline and habits
Mhm.
that carry them through what they would see as the valleys. So the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is successful people are willing to show up on the days that they don't want to show up and do the work anyways, because they've created the habits. So in the downtimes when we're not feeling certain on what we want to do, or we feel like we're stuck, we know that action is what it takes to get unstuck. And if you don't have the habits in place to keep you on the action, then you won't get unstuck. And the other piece of it is, and this is what John Maxwell says to us all the time, you have to combine success and significance.
Mhm.
So your success needs to be connected to the significance of helping other people.
Mhm.
Because if you're not willing to get up in the morning for yourself, make sure that you have somebody else that is dependent on you showing up today, because that will get you out of bed when you know that somebody else relies on you. And that's why most people go to the job. They don't go to the job because they love it. They go to the job because they have a paycheck that helps support their family. And if they don't show up to the job, the paycheck doesn't come, and then their family's out in food lines. That's what happens.
Mhm.
So make sure that you're doing that, connecting something of significance to what you're doing, and you will wake up ready to go every day.
Yeah, there comes a point where you're like, okay, I've hit that. How many more people can do that? You know, there's a lot of room for Black Diamonds, double ambassadors, you know, all of these titles here at work. So why not? Like, let's go, guys. Like, I'm so excited for that for everyone. So that's exciting when you see that light bulb moment go off for somebody else. And you guys will all go through these stages and you'll be like, I remember her saying that. Like, yes, I've got my first diamond. Like, I remember I just want diamonds so bad. And then I'm like, I just want a diamond. And then it happened. And you're like, I want another one. And so it's exciting. It's a different excitement that keeps you going.
I mean, some words you've said, both of you, action, action, Joel, you said, get you unstuck, Steph, you're talking about, consistency, showing up, significance. Those are words as leaders that, man, just get our hearts, pumping. And I'm sure in the midst of all that, there were some obstacles and there were some struggles that you guys had to constantly kind of step over. Can you talk to us a little bit about some obstacle or something you had to embrace to help you move forward?
Gosh, I think, again, you guys see all the highlights, and I remember there's been multiple stages in the business, and you'll feel this, like going diamond. You guys, just before diamond, I wanted to quit. And so maybe I'm talking to the one that's so close, but yet you feel so far away. And this feeling of like, I want it so bad. Why doesn't anybody else want it? And, that was the moment of like, I can't stop now. It's that little gold digger, right? Like, you're so close, you're so close. And then all of a sudden you hit that. And then, walking through cancer, going through family death. What does that look like? Life is always going to happen to each and every one of us. We can't stop that. But we can decide how we're going to move forward and what we're going to do. And I think that's, something for us is a decision of, he'll let me, and I'll let myself have a moment of like a cry day or whatever you need, and feel that, but don't sit in that. Again, it's action. How do you get out? It's not saying go work harder. That's what moves you forward.
That's so good.
I love that.
So the thing about when you come up against an obstacle, what I want to tell you right now, for everybody that's new, you're going to hit an obstacle. Like, you don't come into this, and the people that fail are the people that think there isn't going to be an obstacle, because the moment an obstacle comes, that's when they give up.
Yeah.
So I want you to determine right now that you are going to overcome whatever obstacle comes your way. You don't know what the obstacle is going to be. You don't know what the path is that's going to get laid before you. Just know that you are an overcomer, so that when something happens, you can overcome it. And again, like Steph said, you may have to take a day and have a pity party over it, but you're not allowed to have a pity party for more than 2 consecutive days.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like if you're building this with somebody, with your friend, if you have a accountability buddy, somebody that you're accountable to for this, you are both not allowed to quit on the same day. You have to have somebody that pulls you up. You have to be there to pull them up so that when you guys are in that spot, you have somebody to lean on who can pull you out. You know, a friend that has somebody to pull them up is going to go so much further than somebody that's trying to do it alone.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
So good.
Man, I would, the chat's going crazy, just like, man, that's just what I needed. Man, that's so good. Fire, always gold. And man, it's good to hear you're hitting a chord when we're talking about, hey, it's not if you hit an obstacle, it's when.
Mhm.
Don't be surprised. I think sometimes we're like, oh, I hit an obstacle, I'm so surprised, as opposed to, no, if I'm gonna do anything great, I'm gonna have to run over several obstacles and then run over more obstacles, and they just get bigger and bigger, but then you get bigger and bigger, and then the obstacles are more of it's helping me grow as opposed to like, shutting me down. That's so good.
Yeah, I mean, you
Love it.
guys, there's so many moments that you're gonna go, I don't understand why I'm going through this. It's so you can help someone else. I've had those moments over and over. And as
Yeah.
much as I'm like, I don't like this, it teaches you something. So those are the times that you really need to write those down. And even if you're like on a high, write those moments down too. Don't forget the wins, because there's going to be wins and there's going to be times where you feel like, oh my gosh, all I'm doing is losing. And that's when you got to go to the person that's winning, like really hone in on, okay, I've got through this. What are they doing? And cheer each other on, because not every person is going to be up and not every person is going to be down. So you've got to find, what are they doing? And can I shift and pivot and go over that obstacle to get to the next step?
I love that. You guys are always leveling up your circle. Like I know that's something you've always done, just like Joel. Yeah, I feel like I've heard that. Like I have the best mentors, and they might not know you right now, and that's okay. Not you specifically, but who's ever listening on here. But Steph, when you were talking to, you're like, we have different seasons in here, and right now is a go season. And you talked about showing up every day. So we have 3 minutes left, and we don't want to take that time. We want you guys to share there. So if you could go, hey, do this thing every day from here on out. Like, take this. This is the action. Here's some action to take.
Mm-hmm. So
what would that be?
One of the things that I think is super easy is take the product every day and show it. It seems like that's a no-brainer, but there's so many people that don't even do that. And so that's a huge thing that me and Joel have constantly always, a new product comes out, we're using it, we're serious about it, because you run a multi-million-dollar business. Remember, you're envisioning that. So how would that person show up? And so take that product, get different results. Maybe you've gotten multiple, and that's okay. And I think that's the biggest thing that for me was like knocks it out of the park, is that personal testimony of what does it taste like? How does it feel? Who can I help next? Or can they lead me to that? And being excited. I think, you know what? It is something about what energy are you putting out there? And that's a choice. And I see that so commonly. We're going through a little bit of something right now. And it's amazing that I can look at things so differently, and somebody can have the same line and look completely different as a negative. And I'm like, you get to choose what way you want to be. So I would be excited. The slimmer is fire. Everybody needs that. Like, go on and get the slimming trio and get the meal replacement, because there's just so many things. So I think that's a really easy first step for everyone that they can do.
And guys, here's something to do to alter your mindset. We're going to program your brain for success. So tomorrow morning, you're going to get up, you are going to look in your mirror, and you are going to tell yourself, I run a multi-million-dollar business. I am a distributor gathering machine. Loyal customers come to me from everywhere. And then high five yourself.
Yes, you have to. It's like crazy. The science behind it. Yes.
It will reset your brain to a pattern to where you start believing the things that you tell yourself. When you speak life, you create life. So you need to speak life over yourself first thing in the morning to train your brain to go out and do the things that you desire to take place.
Dude, both of you just dropped it, man.
High fives and mic drops and fist bumps all the way.
Hey, again, thank you too for being on. I'm so excited to have you back on, just because, man, this was gold. Thank you for your who you are, your personhood, your leadership, just how well you love others. And we're so thankful to have you as such a big part of our family, It Works family. We love you guys. That was amazing.
Thank
We
you
love
so
you
much.
guys. Thank you
Have
for
an
having us on.
amazing week.
Absolutely.
See y'all soon.
See ya.
Love you guys.